Thank you. So I'm going to talk about those different products that we've been working on, and then I would love to ask you all a question at the end. So get started. So I met Arlene in 2015 when I first started my job at the Department of the Environment, and I heard from her and through the grapevine that there was some study happening on food packaging, foodware, which is what Graham just talked about. And I thought, oh, wow, well, we buy foodware. Maybe we should check and see if we have any problems with our foodware having PFAS. And so we were pretty concerned because in San Francisco, all paper that's food soiled has to go to compost. It's a law, and it's been in place since 2006. And so that could have real implications for compost. And so we decided to go ahead and test what we were buying. And I worked with Graham, so thank you so much to Graham. He does lots of free testing for people. We tested about 15 different products that we were buying in our cafeteria, and some of them had PFAS and some didn't. It didn't seem to have a whole lot of rhyme or reason as to whether some things did or didn't, although there was some consistency across these agricultural waste products, so wheat, bagasse, sugarcane, these kinds of waste that are made into plates and clamshells. But even some paper products had PFAS too. And so we started working with our supplier. We created a specification that said, you can't sell us anything that has PFAS. And also while we were testing, we had noticed that, so we created these purchasing requirements, no PFAS and compostables. We'd also noticed that some of the products that we had tested were considered compostable through this certification from Biodegradable Products Institute. And so we contacted this certification program and said, hey, did you know that you have ingredients in these compostables that you certify that are certainly not compostable? They don't ever degrade, they don't go away. And they were pretty concerned about it, and I give them a lot of credit. So BPI changed pretty rapidly for a certification program. And in a couple years, they had changed their standard to say no more PFAS. And because of that, we were then able to look more broadly outside the city, because you can imagine a city might be able to make a purchasing spec, but a taco truck cannot go and do testing and figure out all of this stuff. They just want to look for a list of products, and BPI has a list of products. So because of that, we were able to pass a citywide ban on PFAS and foodware that went into effect earlier this year. And unfortunately, COVID has delayed some of our activities around this. We haven't gone into our fast food places and takeout places to check to see what they have, but we have done a lot of education and outreach. And so when things settle down a little bit, we'll start going into the restaurants to see how they're doing, and then we'll help educate them as to what they can buy. But because they can buy PFAS-free, essentially PFAS-free stuff that's BPI certified, we think that we're on the right path. And so I give that as an example of what we've done in foodware, but we've done similar kind of work in other product categories. So for example, on carpet, we passed a purchasing regulation for ourselves that carpet has to be PFAS-free, and plus all these other things because of our education from Arlene and others about the 6 classes. This was a long process, similar to food packaging. It didn't happen overnight. We had to work with manufacturers. We had to understand how we could make sure we had durable products that wouldn't end up in the landfill after a few weeks. So it wasn't overnight, but we're really happy about this and proud. And we've worked with a lot of other big institutional purchasers who have done similar things. And because of Arlene's work and many of these purchasers pushing the industry, carpet is essentially PFAS-free now. So the 8 largest manufacturers of carpet in the United States no longer are putting PFAS in their carpets. On furniture, we have also created purchasing specs, but we haven't passed a reg. And so that's something that we want to do for our own purchases, is really force our departments into purchasing PFAS-free furniture. We also have all these other things that we've eliminated from our purchases. But we really want the teeth of a regulation. And so that's something that's coming very soon. We've been working with a couple of certification bodies. Furniture is really tough because you can imagine there's all these different kinds of furniture that would have textiles on them. And all of the textiles are different from each other, and those come from different manufacturers than the furniture comes from. So we're working with Healthy Hospitals Initiative and others, Center for Environmental Health, to create lists of products that would be compliant. So it'll make it easier for people to make these purchases. And then once that happens, then other big purchasers and even people like you and me in our homes can use these lists. And then on firefighting foam, although we've been working on this for a couple of years, this is a real tough one because PFAS containing firefighting foam works, and it has been in use for quite a long time. The state of California just passed a ban on PFAS in firefighting foam that will go into effect in January of 2022. So all of a sudden we have a really great timeline that I can push our fire department toward. And we've identified a few PFAS-free firefighting foams that we are interested in, a couple of which have had hazard assessments conducted on them, and all the ingredients disclosed to the Green Screen program. So that's really heartening. And the next step, which we're currently working on right now, is identifying ways for us to clean out all of the equipment, because PFAS is so sticky. It sticks inside the tanks and the trucks and the adductors and the proportioners and all this equipment. And so even if we put this lovely PFAS-free foam into our equipment, it will continue to be contaminated with PFAS for a very, very long time. So, thank you. So we've talked to 2 different companies that can help us remove the PFAS from those tanks. But then the real challenge after that is then what do you do with all of that contaminated wastewater, essentially? And there aren't really good options right now, because when you incinerate PFAS, it doesn't necessarily break it down. We're not sure what happens to the PFAS afterward. But we are in the process of changing out our PFAS containing foam, which is great. We've also done a bunch of public education. We held screenings of The Devil We Know and the other documentary that The Devil We Know is based on. We've done social media posts, all kinds of different things. We gave coupons for PFAS-free cast iron pans at a local hardware store. So we're really trying to educate our local residents about this issue. And future initiatives. This is something that maybe folks can brainstorm a little bit with me in our small groups, but we would love to do more. We'd love to pass more local bans, and we just don't want them to be specious. We want them to actually have real impact. And so we'd love people's ideas. And that's it for me. Thanks.